Let's learn how to animate with Bluey, bringing stories to life in Canva. Hi everybody, very warm welcome here from sunny Australia. My name is Jennifer Suhr and I have been a teacher in the primary area for 31 years. For the last 6 years, I've been teaching visual arts and media arts to students in years 1 to 6, and I'm also a Canva educator creator and I have been doing that for the last 12 months. Firstly, I thought I'd give you a bit of a unit outline of what the students will be doing. This is going to be a unit for around the year 2 age. It could be adapted for either, but I wouldn't go any younger than year 2. This piece will be created in Canva using animation, some elements, and getting images from the internet and how to copy those and bring them over to Canva. As you would know, there are no licensed characters in Canva. They would have to get them from there because they couldn't just search Bluey. Once they've done that, they'll be looking at linking this connection of Bluey to their family and how family is important to them. They will also learn a little bit about media arts and what that is. And then they'll bring those two things together to create a really sweet animation that's unique, showing everyday moments that they have with their family through the use of Bluey. So in our orientation, we discussed what sorts of activities families do together. They then got together in small groups and they used the Canva template from Innovation Station. They thought of activities that they did with their family. Once they did that brainstorm, they then came back to the carpet and they chose one of the topics that they thought depicted Bluey and perhaps their family the best. And of course, if wherever you're from in the world, I'm sure that things like here in Australia where I am, we are by the beach. So going to the beach would be a popular one. And if we had the whole class doing the beach, that would be fine. They just needed to choose one. In the Australian curriculum, media art involves using digital multimedia to create representations of the world and tell stories using formats such as television, film, video, newspapers, radio, games, and mobile media. In media arts, students study, design, and distribute multimedia works. If you're from Australia, you will be familiar with the Australian curriculum. By the end of year 2, students identify where they experience the media arts. They describe where and why or how people across cultures, communities, and or other contexts experience media arts. Students use media languages, media technologies to construct representations in media artworks. They share their work with an audience safely and in informal ways. Now, this unit actually covers all of that. So if you are doing media arts across the first strand, you would be able to tick all the boxes for all of the achievement standard for year 1 and for year 2. So how do we go about tuning in the students to get them excited about the unit to come? Well, they all love Bluey. So what a better way than to watch an episode of Bluey? I asked them to pay close attention to Bluey and Bingo, look at their traits, their expressions, and how they interact with each other. We also then look at the things that they do as a family and the things that they're doing together. So we watched the episode of Bedroom of Bluey, and then I asked the students what message is trying to be portrayed in this episode. What's the message that's being put, toward them, and then hopefully they'll work out that it's love and the togetherness of family. Okay, so here you can see that I have opened up Canva and I've opened up a presentation. From here, then students go and type their name as the title of the page so that we know whose this is. And go into Elements and search for the background that they'd like for their character to be in. So in this case, we put in Playground, search for a background, use those 3 little dots and scroll down to where it says Set Image for Background. From there, we're then going to go to Google and type in Bluey. This is where we're going to get those images that we require, looking for the images, And there's going to be two ways that we go about getting this, one with a background and one without a background. So the one that has just a vector image like this one here is probably the best and easiest one to do because you don't need to remove background. We're going to get them to right click for copying on the image and then do paste once we get into Canva, and it will automatically go into the playground background. Now let's just try one with a background so that we can see the difference. So this time we might try a family group. There's one there, right click on, going to copy it and then paste, and the background's there. So now we're going to use another editing tool, which is background remover at the top there. Press on background remover and the background is gone. So as you can see now, we actually have the background and the image looks like it should be there. We don't want two Blueys, so we'll take one of those Blueys away. This was just purely for this purpose to show you how to use both. Okay, now we're going to use the elements to add other parts in the scene. So we're going to look at adding some clouds, let them scroll through and have a look at which ones that they like, reminding them that these are in the background, they're not going to be overtaking the most part of the image. So teaching them how to resize and placing them so that they make it look like, they should be there. Show them how to use the add tool so that we can duplicate one element. And then we're going to go ahead and look for something else. So we can say to them a sun. Now also encourage them to use elements that are already animated like this one here. So then they've already got an animation without them having to animate it themselves already within Canva's elements. Now we're going to add things like birds. So there you can see that there is a bird that is already flying. That's one, or you can use one where they want to add it themselves. But for this purpose, we are actually going to use the bird that already has flying. It's way too big. Again, teach them how to make that smaller by pressing on those little circles in the corners and moving it in. And talk about proportion and how the bird is smaller, so we need to adjust it appropriately. Then we're going to go to Animate. We're going to create an animation, and we just have to simply drag the animation to where you'd like it to go. And then they can see that it animates instantly going across the page. Once that, we need to then click Done, which is down at the bottom there. And that's just sitting there waiting to basically for when we show the presentation at the end to work. Now we're going to put in some other things. What other things could be in a scene like this? So we're going to use a ball. There could be a ball that goes across in the scene. Make the ball smaller. So this is good that it's repeating those practiced things that they've been taught. We're going to animate it. We're going to have the ball bounce across the page. And again, then they can see it. Now they can change the speed of this, how they want. And there's this bar there at the side that you can change that speed. Okay, and now we're going to animate the family. So there's different ways. You don't always have to have them moving across. You can use the ones that are already pre-subscribed here in Canva. So they can just hover over them and the family will move in different ways. You can see it's just sliding there. There's a variety of them though. This one, look, it rotates, pulsing, or even jiggle. And then you can use that as an actual animation for the still picture. We'll put in a few other little things like butterflies that are flying across the screen, which would be a really lovely one. Just try and encourage them with some different things that they could have. They could add flowers to this. They could add more other children to this. They could add other characters as well. So we're going to animate the butterfly, moving the butterfly across the screen. Actually do know that I did this bit incorrectly. So I'll show you. As you can see, I didn't animate it properly. So we'll go back and do that part again. put the butterfly back in, make it smaller, place it where you want it to begin, press Animate, click on Create Animation, and then move it across the screen. You need to have that little trail that's going behind, and that's where I could see that was my error. So there we go, the butterfly is going across the screen, the ball is, the bird is, the family is pulsing, the sun is moving. There is already animation. You can see it all here happening together at the same time. Now the next thing that we're going to be doing is that we're going to be sharing. So we get the children to download it, but it needs to be shared. It gives a little warning there as an MP4. So scroll down to where it says MP4 video and then download. Now this does take a little bit of time. What we actually do from here is that we have a learning management system called Toddle, and the students will be able to upload their video that is saved now on the computer to Toddle, so that it can be viewed by me, so that we can add it to their digital portfolio, so we can also then as a whole class basically have a look and have the presenting component shown in the achievement standard of their video. They then can stand up while this is being played in front of the class to tell us why they did what they did, the purpose of their video. They can even explain the things that they have done. So they're using those digital languages. They're using recall of storytelling. They're also telling us maybe perhaps why they did it. So it adds a whole lovely picture and really comes to a great conclusion to be done. So now that MP4 video is downloaded, it will be in your downloads on your computer, which is where we show the children where it is. And then now you'll be able to see the final product as it comes up now. So here's the final product of what the animation is. We'll now move on to see some of the students' examples that they created. So as you can see from those examples, there were a variety of settings that the children decided to use to depict Bluey with her family. Some of them she was with her family, some of them she wasn't. After that, they then uploaded the video that they had created, the animation, and that's uploaded onto our LMS system, which we use one called Toddle. There I could view it along with the students when we viewed them, and also the parents can view them, and I was able to respond on there with a comment if I wanted to. Next, I thought it would be a really good idea to talk about differentiation with this lesson. To support students with additional needs, we did have that extra support. I would show them one-on-one how to go through the process, and then I would ask them to show how to follow the steps. They could then add as many elements as they wanted to, or whatever, as many as they thought they were capable of. To extend students, though, I really encourage them to use other applications like sound and music. As you would have seen, I added some sound with mine that was earlier when you saw the student examples. I also thought that they also could design an introduction page as well as an ending page with credits on there. Next, I'd like to talk about how else you could use this lesson in other subject areas. I did think that you could go along in English for storytelling. It's a perfect way for storytelling. With history and geography, you could recall historical events or environmental issues like global warming or recycling. In science, students could explain scientific understanding of topics, for example, like the water cycle. And the way that they can use this is absolutely endless. There are so many ways you could do it, and actually it could tick boxes for you if you don't have a specialist teacher to teach media arts as a cross-curricular sort of in that achievement standard. So where can you find me? You can find me on Canva. My Canva name is Gemma Luhr. I have got educational content there that is based on primary content as well as specialist in the visual arts and different arts area. So there is drama on there, there's music and media arts as well. So you can find me also on Instagram at Gemma Luhr for my content on Canva. And you can also find my Mrs. Suhr's art room, which is where I have art in practice with media arts and visual arts in the classroom. You can also follow me on TikTok, where I have some of my content that I've made on Canva. And lastly, if you'd like my email address, it's just here. It's jsuhr@cac.qld.edu.au, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about what you've just seen today.